Sexuality being a taboo topic where there is a lot of silence and hesitation and embarrassment from us adults ourselves. We don't feel comfortable talking about it or we don't get the information. And then teaching to the children, it is quite challenging. Something which we are not comfortable and confident with, taking it to the students very confidently, that is difficult. We have to break that barrier of hesitation and discomfort and embarrassment. So changing the attitudes, making the people feel more comfortable and confident about understanding their own sexuality and understanding the sexuality development of children, how answering the children when they ask any questions, all that, it requires a lot of retrospection and reflection and undoing a lot of conditioning that we have already come up. We have grown up with the culture of silence and stigma around sexuality. So there we have seen a huge amount of change.
Enfold Trust works on gender based violence and sexual abuse through education, awareness, and rehabilitative support for the survivors of child sexual abuse. And they work with children in schools and children in the juvenile justice system.
Renu, hi. Thank you so much for joining me on Spare Change to Real Change. It's a series of conversations we started to get India to start thinking more seriously and intentionally about giving. And we've started by highlighting some of the causes that Ravi Venkatesan has supported through his journey from Spare Change to Real Change. So thank you for joining me. And I want to start, Renu, by talking about Enfold Trust and especially Project Suvida, your director, Project Suvida. So perhaps you can tell us about how it started, the birth of it, the vision.
Thank you so much, Sandhya. Talking about Project Suvida, we launched Project Suvida in the year 2016. And before that, Enfold had already been working in the space of creating safe spaces for children since 2001. So after 15 to 16 years of experience in working with the mainstream education field, where we were dealing with children and adolescents as well as young adults in teaching them sexuality, ethics, personal safety, and a lot of other work. So with all that 15 years of experience, Dr. Sangeeta Saxena, who is the co-founder of Enfold, she envisioned this project to focus on children with disabilities who were not getting any kind of support or education in terms of personal safety and sexuality education as part of their life skills training. So it was a highly neglected area in which we were not doing anything at all in India. We did not have any resources, we did not have any training modules where we could train the professionals. So there we felt that we could fill that requirement, fill that need, and we launched Project Suvida. I joined Enfold in the year 2017, and from then onwards, we have been working on this, working on trainings, working on creating resources for children as well as the adult stakeholders.
Thanks for that, Renu. Renu, in the 6 years that Project Suvida has been established, what's the kind of impact that you all have been able to create?
We have been focusing on providing resources as well as trainings to the adult stakeholders. These adult stakeholders are the caregivers of children with disabilities, their teachers, professionals working with them, counselors working with them, along with the entire school staff that supports these children in their learning. So we provide comprehensive sexuality education training to the adult stakeholders, and we also provide the Suvidha kit. The Suvidha kit is a toolkit which has a lot of visual teaching aids which the caregivers and teachers can use with their children to explain them the concepts of personal safety, sexuality, and a lot more things that are a part of the curriculum that we have developed. So we have developed a very comprehensive curriculum on comprehensive sexuality education that includes personal safety education for children and adolescents with intellectual disabilities, for autism spectrum disorder, as well as sensory impairments, namely hearing impairments and visual impairments. So we have created kits, two Suvidha kits. One is the Suvidha Suraksha kit, and the second one in development is the Suvidha Sparsh kit, especially for children with auditory and hearing impairments. We have reached more than 3,800 other stakeholders directly through trainings, as well as reaching out to them through conferences, through providing awareness and sensitization sessions, along with elaborate 20 or 25-hour trainings for teachers and parents to help the children in understanding. We have not been working with children directly because for children with intellectual disabilities and autism, it is difficult for them to learn from unfamiliar people. In these 6 years, we have reached more than 60 organizations, and we have given out Suvidha kits, more than 200 Suvidha kits to these other stakeholders. Our children learn at a slower pace, so to show some progress on record, questionnaires and assessments, it takes some time. But we do take these testimonials and the feedbacks, which are narrative, and they have been like really fantastic ones. Very, very encouraging, and the teachers and parents, they have all said that it's very impactful in the sense that firstly, sexuality being a taboo topic where there's a lot of silence and hesitation and embarrassment from us adults ourselves. We don't feel comfortable talking about it, or we don't get the information. And then teaching to the children, it is quite challenging. Something which we are not comfortable and confident with, taking it to the students very confidently, that is difficult. We have to break that barrier of hesitation and discomfort and embarrassment. So changing the attitudes, making the people feel more comfortable and confident about understanding their own sexuality and understanding the sexuality development of children, how answering the children when they ask any questions, all that, it requires a lot of retrospection and reflection and undoing a lot of conditioning that we have already come up. We have grown up with the culture of silence and stigma around sexuality. So there we have seen a huge amount of change in the teachers and the other stakeholders' attitude, beliefs, and understanding. And the Suvidha kit has also received a lot of participation and a lot of demand. Teachers and parents across India, they want access to the kit and our trainings.
That's amazing. Your cause is one after my own heart. I always believe the first way to solve a problem is to acknowledge it and to talk about it and then to move on. A lot of times the problem is the taboo and the stigma that we're okay to be in silence versus to actually normalize these things. I like what you told me about the impact you've reached in the last 6 years, and then you also spoke about some of the challenges that one faces while trying to create impact. What about the vision for a longer period of time? For the next 5 years, where would you all have liked to reach to?
Okay. So, in terms of our focus or our goal, our focus has been empowering the caregivers and the teachers and the professionals to teach children personal safety and sexuality, sexual and reproductive health. That is the broad goal. So, we want comprehensive sexuality education to be included, to be an intrinsic part of the life skills education of every child, not just the children with neurodivergence, but we want this to be included as life skills education of every child in the mainstream as well as in the disability sector. So, working towards that, we want the curriculum of the students across all these streams the mainstream or the disability sector to be revised to include these messages in their curriculum itself. Right now, sexuality education is not a part of any curriculum or syllabus of school children or adolescents also. We want to have collaborations, collaborative partnerships with schools and organizations. So we want to expand the reach of the Suvidha kit as well as the curriculum that we have developed, every part of the country and also abroad. We have been presenting our work at various international and national conferences. And one of the conferences were in Prague, in Czechoslovakia, just 3 years back. It is ISCAN conference, and we presented the Suvidha kit and our work, and it was hugely received. And there we came to know that there is across the world there is no such kit which is as comprehensive as the Suvidha kit, which has everything, based on life skills which is required for a child, in terms of safety and their they have to manage their sexuality. So we want to reach, we want to reach every part of the world, not just India.
And that's an amazing vision and mission. I want to end, Renu, with asking how anybody who's listening to this conversation today can offer support.
Yeah, so we definitely require a lot of support from everybody. The donations, fundings would definitely help, and we would also like support in terms of networking and connecting with schools and organizations which are interested in taking this work forward with us. So we would like to have collaborations and partnerships, and also people who are interested in working with us as facilitators. They can also contact us, and because we want to train more people who can be trainers and facilitators.
Just to summarize what we just spoke about, there are 3 ways anyone listening can support Project Suvida. One is, of course, monetary contributions. We will share a link with this conversation. Secondly, networking and partnerships and collaborations. And third, of course, to just join the Suvidha army and offer services and talent. So thank you. Thanks, Renu.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much to all those listening. Thank you.